God damn, what a soundtrack. How are we doing, everyone? Oh man, and there I go messing up. Hang on, where's the chat box? Oh god, hang on, chat box. Is that you? Get out of here. Boom. And chat's tiny, that's great. Oh, I'm so sorry about the layout. How's that gonna look over here? Oh god, hang on, I know I should've. Okay, at least that stayed the same. That's consistent, right? Oh man, alright, I gotta mess with that later. Hey everyone, how are we doing tonight? Can I maybe do this? Let's get that font a little bit bigger, maybe? We'll see if that works. Hey, there we go. Man, I messed with one thing in layout and that's what happens. Hey, everyone. Yeah, so with the computer reset, I lost a lot of the assets, like a lot of the files that that I was using for all the layout stuff, so I couldn't really edit it if I wanted to make some changes. So I had to rebuild the layout structure and learned a few things since I went to the new one. So hopefully this looks similar, but better, a little bit classier, right? I like the deeper blue now. Hey, how's it going, everyone? Let me make sure. Hey, Tyler, how you doing? Let me see here. So, as some of you all may have noticed, at the very beginning of the intro of the stream, intro looks a little different. I'm also trying to really, I'm trying to really push to go full time with content creation. I think, not that like, not that I've like had a bad time with teaching or anything like that. I am just, I'm like, I have a really, really fun time doing streams and stuff like that. You know, over the break, doing the streams and doing the design work and everything, it really made me push to go like, you know what, I really do have fun just kind of having these kinds of live interactions like this. I have a lot of fun just making cool stuff. And, you know, I want to be able to do this in a way to where it won't like, you know, totally kill just my normal like living habits, I guess. So I am, I kind of, what's good? I'm now your work soundtrack. Man, I'm so glad to have you, mans. I'm thinking after we put the budget together, your job's more boring. I'm thinking that after doing the budget and everything, it's very feasible that I could go full time. It's just I have to be sure that there's definitely a certain number I'm trying to get to where I'm like, you know what, I can do YouTube as much as I want. I can make this my job. I can make doing design work and all that like everything I wanted to do, right? So I'm trying to figure out what to do in terms of like making it worth it. What's it going to be worth it over on the Patreon? Yeah, and part of that goes into, someone had asked earlier, how's teaching and everything going? Teaching is going really well, but I am, unfortunately, I let my employer and everything know today, well, basically over the last 2 days. I do enjoy teaching. I really do. It's, you know, one of the things I really like about these kinds of streams is, you know, the process of like walking people through a thing. The feedback I've gotten from people that are like, yeah, I really got into designing homebrew because I watched your streams and I feel like I learned a lot. That means a lot. I love teaching, but I am also somebody that just got out of college, I guess 2 years ago, and I guess 3 years now. COVID just, everything seems like a blur. So part of that is debt, right? Student loan debt. Unfortunately, at the place where I currently work, I do not qualify for one of the big perks and why a lot of people go into teaching, and that's student loan forgiveness. Student loan debt forgiveness, rather. Teaching at a private school, you just don't get, like, you just don't get the access to the programs that you would if you were teaching in public schools, right? So I let my, work know today, I unfortunately won't be able to return for next year. It's gotten me kind of in a funk today that, like, I'm really glad to be doing just kind of this stuff, and that's why I wanted to do the stream, is just to, like, kind of have my mind on something else for a little bit. And that's, doing Runekeeper work, I think kind of refocusing on this. What is the big project going to be? This is what I want to do, right? You hope the teaching job, in all honesty, the teaching job is going great, but it's just the logistics of it that I just don't know are going to work moving forward. But I've already gotten a lot of messages from buddies of mine that are, teachers in public schools around here, right? Yeah, big moves. That are teachers in public schools around here that are like, we're going to get you in contact with our fine arts directors and stuff like that. So I'm optimistic for it, even though in the meantime it feels like feels like a pretty big weight, but I do hope that eventually, like, I can do content creation as well as, like, teach and all that. But yeah, that's kind of it's kind of where I'm at today. It was a heavy day, so lots of those, like, man, I won't be back next year kind of talks, but it'll be all right. We'll be fine. We'll make it through it. But anyway, so that's that's that whole thing. But in tonight's stream, I want to talk about getting this class out. Now, I had a talk with Ross last night about, like, where do you think this class needs to be in order for me to get this thing out? Because I feel like I'm just not seeing the finish line here. And let's get over into the document and I'll talk through some of the big changes. So, you all will see, or rather, you won't see, there's a few of the subclasses that I've had to cut. And I'll talk about why. Now, the first one that got cut is Primordial. The Primordial runes were going to be the Elemental runes. And I had ideas, and I had them all down on paper, and I was like, okay, cool, this feels like I've got the idea for what this is going to be. However, coming up with class features whenever your only, like, jumping off point is just elemental damage, it felt like one that was going to hang me up in getting this thing out probably within even the next, like, month or two, right? So I think the good thing to do for Primordial, rather than try to get it out the door as what I think would have been a kind of elemental based subclass, I think I'm going to hold off on that until probably like the next big expansion, right? Hey, Eric, thanks so much for the $2, man. You got this hoodie? Yeah, I love this one, right? Like the Extra Life one? Yeah, this is like one of the best D&D shirts I've ever seen. Yeah, I would totally own it on a t-shirt. I love the hoodie, but yeah, I definitely want to wear it during the summers. I wish I had it on a t-shirt. So, yeah, exactly, Mads. It seems like you keep making new dialects forever if you don't tighten the focus on the class, right? So that's what I need to do, is I need to bring my scope down. So with part of that, and thank you, Phil, yes, be sure to like the stream, all that good business. Part of that is I had to cut Primordial for now. And it will make a comeback because it will be in this document, probably not on the first go, but probably on the next one, right? On the second expansion. The other thing that I cut was S4R, which were the Elvish Runes. This was a subclass that I just had literally no idea what I wanted to do with it. This idea of like, it was going to be about perfection, and you know, all these different subclasses have a 10th level feature that's like Words of Damnation, and it builds into what you like, the play style that the runes are trying to evoke, right? This, I just couldn't really get anything to click with Elvish. Like, I don't know if maybe I need to just go back and really, really like chew on some lore, but it just didn't really click, and I couldn't find a lot of support for the runes in any like official books. So I just decided I'll probably hold off on that one. Yeah, hunter stuff, fog and such. It made sense. Like, I get why, I get it as a concept, right? I feel like it could very easily be a subclass, but it's just not one that I think is going to make it for the first round, right? I think by cutting that one for now and not putting pressure on myself to get it out, it would be better for me to kind of move on to some other stuff in the meantime. And I think everything else is going to be a lot stronger as a result of that. A lot of the cinematics for these, like Fiendish, this Wretched Castigation is like, okay, that capstone feels super good. All about song magic, that could be really cool. That could be really cool. But I do think I need to hold off on that for right now. Just for right now. Because what this one is going to roll out with in the Runekeeper subclasses is going to be Deathic. They're going to have Fiendish. They're going to have Goblin. Goblin hasn't gotten cut, despite that being the next one that was up on the chopping block. I do think I probably need to reduce their rune stance down a little bit. In this, I love so much of what this one wants to do. I trust me, this is one that I do not want to cut. I love this one in here. Eocharic is done. This one is like, I think one of the three that's in here that is like super, super done. It doesn't click because other dialects are used to bind primordial power. The Jotun one is done. It could probably use a little bit of refining. Interestingly, this is one where like all the other discourses have something like you can attune to magic items that are restricted to dwarves or, you know, whatever. They don't give you a whole lot in the second level. They just kind of don't. Jotun is the one that gives you quite a lot of power. Quite a lot of power right up front. That I'm probably going to need to tone down just a bit. The big one that I think could probably take the hit is going to be this Jotun Resilience. Whereas all the other ones got those attunements that I was talking about, there's not really any magic items that are restricted to being, like, attunement by a giant, you know what I mean? So, like, I thought the smart thing to do was to give them, like, alright, we're going to increase your hit points. Cool, I think that that's fair. It is a bit stronger than you can attune to any item that's required by, you know, whatever. But, like, the through line wasn't quite there for Giant, you know. Skilt Grobber is fine. But I designed this one because I proposed, like, if I was going to take the Tasha's Rune Knight and propose that you need to use a different system instead of the one that they gave you for the Rune Knight, Jotun is, if you want to go with that Rune Knight from Tasha's, this is going to allow you to do that and get the same kind of play feel overall. It's just going to be using a system that's like a little bit, it's going to be a little bit more reasonable. Well, I say a little bit. It's going to be a lot more reasonable, but a lot more flexible. Friendly Teen asks, no disrespect intended whatsoever, but you're curious as to why this class is taking so much time. You watch these streams mostly as background audio, so I know very little. Is it the number of runes? The class is done. The base class is done. Like, at this point, now that I've trimmed out Primordial and Esferar, the base class is done. The problem is I've proposed a whole entirely new magic system without a ton of, like, 5e spell support. Like, if I had made a spellcaster, it's pretty easy for me to, like, write in what spells you get, and then it's kind of just done, right? This is like I'm writing a spellcaster that didn't have spells to support it, you know. So I'm having to write the spells for a system that didn't previously exist. That's why this one's pretty chewy. Now, good night. Hey, hair crab. Now, is this one taking all that long? I actually think this one's coming out extremely fast. An entire class basically getting designed and quite nearly put out to publish within like 2 to 3 months. That's actually a fairly quick turnaround from what I've seen. Like, the dancer was actually fairly simple for me once I got things to click. The thing with the dancer was, as soon as I came up with the flares, boom, it was ready to go. The step-up feature is the big chewy part of that class anyways. Now, from talking with Ross's shaman took him 6 months. Like, he was thorough on the shaman, right? This is one that I do want to give that level of love to, and I feel like I have. Oh, and I need to get this layout corrected. I feel like I have. But like, it's another thing of scope, right? I haven't been able to limit my scope. And I still don't know like when it's going to feel like the runes that I give you in here are enough to go, I'm using InDesign, yeah. The runes that I give you in here are enough to build a character that's going to feel good from level 1 to level 20, you know. And hey, there's no stupid questions. Don't worry about it. If you got a question about anything, please let me know. I'm happy to help you out. So, but yeah, I use Adobe InDesign, just basically the entire creative suite. You think cutting back is a smart idea from advice Ross has given you in the past. You want just enough subclasses where you give the basics of what you want the class to do and go. From there, you expand. Yeah, you're just about to mention Ross's time and work on the shaman. Yeah. Yeah, by cutting these, and it does, someone mentioned earlier, like, it allows me to do an expansion, right? I want to see the perception of it, and another, like, kind of disclaimer I'm probably going to have to put in the very beginning is, like, I've got this class to the point of where it will run. This class will run from 1st to 20th level. The only thing that's not super complete about it at this point is the core, like, invocation system with the runes. Well, sorry, not the core invocation system. The core runes themselves, you know. Basically what your spells are. You couldn't sleep, so you're here with my... Hey. Well, I appreciate having you. Oh, shit, wait. Hey, Heavy, how you doing? Actually, we're probably going to be pulling up some of your book because I need to finish these damn runes. Yeah, I need to incorporate some of the stuff that Heavy wrote over into this class a bit more. Like I said, the base class, all this stuff, if you've been keeping up over in the Discord, the base class is done. And I feel like everything that's in here feels pretty solid, you know. Bring Heavy onto the stream. You feel like popping in, Heavy? I don't know if your internet's doing good. You're welcome to come hang, man. So, what needs to get done on this right now is Ross and I came to the conclusion that it feels like probably about 10 runes per language would feel like it's like probably still a little bit starved, but enough to where it's like people are going to feel like they have a pretty custom character. And then from the playtest feedback I get from people that have picked it up and they're like, all right, cool, we've had it at the table, here's how things went. Then I can probably look at, I can stand to add some more in here, you know. But what I was getting into just a second ago. So, what I'm thinking about doing is putting in a disclaimer in the very beginning, where I'm like, you know, I haven't been able to, because COVID got rough here in Oklahoma, I haven't been able to get this thing play tested, you know. I have not been able to actually sit down with this at one of my tables. I just don't, like, I can't get players around, right? Saying that, like, I've done playtesting on this to check for balance, it's just not really likely going to be a thing that can happen before I want to get this out. I can look at it and make sure the stuff makes sense and it's not any more comparatively problematic, right? And it's a lot easier for me to nerf some things than it is for me to buff them up. So I could get this out with a disclaimer in the beginning, right? Where I say, I know that the base class and its features work. This stuff feels like it will work. However, if you do feel like something is a problem, like you see some issue with a mechanic in here, please feel free to let me know. And, you know, give me that feedback and I'll see what I can do to correct it. But also, if it feels like something's going to be a problem, feel free to take your Sharpie and just mark it out, right? And I've never done that with a product, and it makes me feel a little bit like, I don't feel like I'm giving it the kind of, like, polish that I want. You know, it doesn't feel like, you know, I mean, Merchant, Dancer, both got playtest. But, like, I can't, with this big of a system, I just don't know that it's going to be really reasonable for me to be able to do a round of playtests like that. Do I use virtual tabletop to play online? I haven't been able to really get, like, a fun experience playing online just yet. I don't know, it hasn't clicked, right? Where, like, I've played virtual tabletop online, and, like, I felt like the rhythm really worked, you know? The rhythm of conversation, the rhythm of, like, who's gonna go next, whatever, hasn't really felt like it's clicked for me. Although, like, if there's something that comes along that just makes it to where it, like, alleviates all my problems I've had with it, right? Where, like, I sit here and I'm in a conversation with somebody, like, we're playing, and we're both, like, talking over each other, or, like, accidentally, like, oh, I'm sorry, man, you no, wait, you go, like, you know what I mean? That awkward video conference rhythm of a conversation. It just feels like it's really hard to play D&D like that. That, you know, there's going to be internet trolls that are going to use that against you. And they can say, you know, like, if they, I don't really feel all that bad just to say, you know what, like, not sure you can right now, 3 a.m. and your wife is sleeping in the next room, just listening in using headphones. Right on. It's all good, man. I need to get you on here soon. I really do. If there's a need for you to sit in a VTT, hit you up, you can do it. All right. You're not 8 hours late this time. So, am I using spell slots? No, it's like, yeah, it's more like uses per day kind of a thing. I'll show you here in a minute. Let me get the like, I don't know that it needs a big disclaimer up front, right? But I think a heads up to DMs where I say, you know, hey, just so you're aware, this is a thing that was created and I know will work. But if you find an issue in play, feel free to mark it out and make the option unavailable and let me know, and I'm happy to see what I can do to make a change, right? Or explain something. Using the, I don't know, DM's Guild storefront, which feels weird to do, but people are already asking questions about how stuff works over there anyways. Hey, Tin Can, how's it going? Yeah, Mr. Pyramid. Like, online can be very hit or miss. It's very much an adjustment. You started with it, so IRL feels a little weird sometimes. You know, and I started IRL, and, like, it felt, it just feels like the pacing of, like, online play is a little odd. And, like, that's another reason why I haven't offered it up as, like, a Patreon sponsorship award. Because, like, me running a game for people who are, like, you know, pledging or whatever, it already feels like there's a little bit of I don't want to say bias involved with that, but like, it just feels weird to run D&D for people who are paying you, you know? Unless I've been like commissioned to do it for like, you know, running it at an expo, or like in the last live stream, someone that I ran for a bachelor party, you know, like a one-off, then it feels okay, but like a long-running campaign feels a little, you know. I might put some kind of disclaimer in here about like the system or the class works. The runes are the only concern? I don't know. No, that's not right. Anyways, I don't want to type up a disclaimer here on stream, but I wanted to voice to you all kind of what I was thinking about, you know. In-person P2P D&D is okay. P2P, what do you mean? Oh, why did this get messed up? Text wrap. There we go. However that winds up going. Oh, that's how you started. Like, I think it's very possible for me to get this Runekeeper out before the end of the month. It's very, very possible. Especially because Heavy was generous and was like, hey, you know, I've got these runes over here, like, so I'm looking at pulling some from Armorer's Handbook and making them compatible with this system over here. And that way, I'm kind of hoping that it also pushes people over to check out Armorer's Handbook if they haven't already. So that way, like, it kind of gives DMs the thought of, oh, it's like the rune stones are going to be spell scrolls for the Runekeeper. So I should probably go check that thing out, right? You guess if I'm not using spell slots for an ability/spell variety, you mainly want there to be enough for however many encounters you're designing for. Yeah, the thing is, the runes give you a passive effect and a bonus effect, or an invoked effect. So like, they do a thing that's always on and active, and that's what I've been thinking about as like cantrip level power, right? And I would hope that like people would look at it and realize like this thing is supposed to be built to be the thing, like whatever I kind of want it to be, but I should definitely prioritize like picking up runes that are going to enhance my weapons and armor early on, right? I want the runes that are going to be able to like give me a little bonus to my weapons and their attacks, and then maybe once you get to like, you know, 5th level with Causal Invocation, it's like, oh, 4 of these? Like, I've already got my weapons taken care of. I guess I could grab a spell with my 3rd one, and then, like, I kind of want to give somebody else one of these things. Who just got a magic item? You want to make it even cooler? Cool, let me throw a rune on there, you know. Here from, like, 1st to 4th level, it's highly unlikely that you're going to be able to get a +1 weapon by this point, right? Here at 5th level, if you go and you pick up a whole lot of, like, weapon runes from, like, a bunch of different languages, or just hyper-focus on your one specific language, it's possible that here at 5th level, you're going to be able to get a +1 weapon. Later on at 9th level, very possible you can get a +2 weapon, and then, like, here around, like, 15th and above, you can get a +3, right? You be good with getting paid in DM, you love to, I'd love to get to a point where I've got a Patreon going with top-tier playtesting content with me weekly. Yeah, like, you know, what do you feel like playtest feedback gets you? You know, I mostly just think it gets me back, like, to people, number 1, have a good time with the thing, and then number 2, does it all make sense? Heavy said, I can't believe how fast I put this thing together. You know? Yeah, well, number 1, thank you. Thank you. Number 2, boy, yes, I should actually, Karen, yes, 100%. This was, as you all have seen, I have been working my ass off on this thing. And I want to be able to move on from the project and do some other things, you know? You'll be back later? All right, cool. I'll be glad to have you back. I want to be able to go on and move on to some other things and have this out in the public and just kind of doing, the play, right? I want to be able to have it out there just sort of in the wild and see what happens and the playtest feedback I get back from other people, right? I could try to playtest this in a bunch of different ways, but it's not going to tell me the same kind of information I'm going to hear from, like, the characters that other people make with this thing. One of the ways that I learned that, let me take that layer off for now so it loads a little bit quicker. One of the ways that I learned that was actually through, what was it? Sleeper Island. They ran a live stream that, they were able to find a few potentially exploitable flares in the dancer. There were only 2 that were really problematic, and thanks to their playtest feedback, I was able to get those fixed and put them in the 1.4 version. But yeah, like Heavy said, I've also gotten some really good suggestions in playtest feedback. People saying that, like, I was a little bit conservative with how you could get magic items on the merchant, and I could have been a little bit more generous with, like, early levels getting that stuff, right? It's what made me change the scaling on the dancer, where you level into your flares a lot quicker, and then it slows down once you get above 10th level, right? That way you can step in and get that front-loaded power, and it feels pretty good to get that in those early levels. And then later on, like, people were saying that the dancer was a little bit boring in the later levels, so I tried to figure out new ways to excite you enough to keep on taking that on into, like, 13th and above. One of the ways was building that playtest, or the step up capstone into something a little bit earlier on, to be like, okay, this will now continue to scale with me as I'm using flares, and feeling grok, yeah. The math and comparison of abilities versus existing content is usually pretty good for balance. Yeah, and, like, if we compare it so much, if we do too much comparative design, it starts to just feel like, oh, I can already make this in the game, So I want to make sure that it doesn't give you anything absolutely insane that, like, can it do something the Artificer can't? Yes. And good, it should be doing something the Artificer can't. But it shouldn't be doing something that is objectively better than what the Artificer is doing way quicker, Out of curiosity, what were the broken flares? Artful Dodge and the Electric Slide. Artful Dodge was the version of it that appeared in 1.3 was applying to when you take the dodge action, you get that bonus to your armor class, right? That was supposed to only apply to opportunity attacks, and it was instead applying to every attack. So some people were going out and using, number one, the fact that it lets you do bonus action dodge is already really good, but it also gives you that, I add my charisma modifier to my AC against other attacks, and I heard of people that were, like, able to tank out a Hydra just by using bonus action dodge, So, like, it always needed to only apply to opportunity attacks, but it didn't state that in the 1.3 version because it was a hangover from an older version. So that one got fixed. And then what I found out was I liked the mechanic of Electric Slide being a cool zoner kind of a thing, but it was hard to figure out why this one was a problem. And it was because people were taking it and they were running into the squares of huge and larger creatures, and they were able to stun lock them. Because if they're, I can't remember if it was their movement that was getting reduced, but there were certain combinations that were making it to where it was impossible for you to get out of the stun condition while Electric Slide was up. So I had to tie that into a saving throw. I didn't want to initially, but I had to. I figured if you were using your action and putting yourself at that much risk, then it maybe didn't need to require a saving throw. But watching what people were doing to like huge-sized creatures with it was like, no, God, yeah, I can't get around it. You have to have a saving throw tied to it. So that's that story. So some of the things I can do right now are I can pull a couple of runes from 2 supplements out there. So Heavy's given me permission to repurpose some of the runes that appeared in Armorer's Handbook into runes over here for this system. And then some of the runes that we wrote for Legends of Frozenfar are pretty much ready to go as giant runes. So I just need to take the time to copy that over here, format it for the new version, and make sure, like, I think giant's going to be my measure, where I have like 20 runes in here for giant, and that needs to be what the other ones are going to be like measured against, right? If I've got 20 runes in here for giant, I need to probably make sure that there's 20 Dwarvish runes, which I think there are, and I need to make sure that there's 20 Draconic runes, you know, etc., etc. What was the... How should I defend the need for classes like Pugilist and Dancer? What was the... Oh, whenever you show off popular homebrew classes, you're often asked, why does this class need to exist if you can just make it with the options in 5e? Can you really do exactly what the Dancer's doing with options in 5e? Can you really do what the Pugilist is doing with options in 5e? Like, you can make a fighter that hits things, but like... Meh. Like, to justify the Pugilist, I would just say, like, you know, you really want a strength-based brawler. And there's enough to build off there for, like, a bunch of different subclasses. That's usually my, like, you know... I guess for me, as kind of the forever DM, I'm already approving the stuff that people can use at my tables, so, like, meh. You're pulling up a quote from your frequently asked questions in the Gunslinger. Yes, do it to it. The Dancer, some people have told me, like, well, we already have the Bard, so why do we need this? And I'm like, this is not doing the things a Bard can do. A Bard cannot do the things that a Dancer can. And if you're wondering, like, well, I just don't know that my world really justifies it. Okay, well, I do the same thing whenever I say, like, the Blood Hunter doesn't really make a lot of sense in my world, or the Monk doesn't make a whole lot of sense in my world, right? Like, if they're just going to say that, you know, well, it doesn't work for my world, that's the one thing I can't push back against. If your game's going to include a Bard, I would say that the Dancer makes sense, you know? This is from Loop Hero. It's by Devolver... Let me pull it up. Loop Hero. It's good. I would install it right now. I did the computer reset, but I need to reinstall this one because it's damn good. Super addictive. And they actually just put it out on Switch, and the port is kind of not bad. Oh, I need to pull up Legends of Frozenfar. This PDF really needs to get optimized. Okay, so. Oh boy. Yeah, I need to reduce the size of this PDF so bad. So. We wrote a lot of runes for this thing. Like, Ross and I were really trying to make this a cool system to throw into this. But it could have very easily been toned down. Oh, Heavy's... Okay. So why a new class? We believe this class offers a more unique, exciting, and genuine expression of the fantasy or fiction of firearms than what can be achieved in a smaller package. Yeah, expanding out a subclass into like its own like master class is like, it's honestly a pretty fun way to brew. Like, I like uh, I like the fiction of what runic invocation meant for the Rune Knight. I just didn't think that WotC had really developed the system into what it could be, right? I felt like we saw the very tip of a huge iceberg, you know? So that's why I decided to take the concept and expand it out into its entire own system. Do I have any suggestions for someone who wants to make a support slash buff build with this class? Yeah, Celestial Runes. I mean, like, support buff is very available in a lot of these, but the if you wanted to go pretty heavy, like, I need to heal and do all the heal good things, Supernal. Why is this? Okay, this one's rendering really well. Oh, come on. Are you really running out of memory? Sometimes InDesign it does this because it's like kind of chugging on rendering everything you've got. The Supernal one is going to be able to do things like whenever you're in your rune stance, creatures that are within the area of your rune stance, so like 10 feet of you, whenever they regain hit points that would exceed their maximum, those hit points can instead be granted as temporary hit points. Light, you shed bright light in this 10-foot area of your stance, and dim light out to double the area. Magical darkness within the area is vanished when you enter the stance. So that's crazy at how strong that can override a second level spell. Like, that's pretty big right there. But it's very specific, and it's going to take up your bonus action, switch into this stance. It probably actually should say... There we go. It should probably say suppressed rather than banished. I don't want it to get rid of the second level spell slot. I want you to be able to, like... It's like, what is it? Calm Emotions that does that? Adobe in general is awful about memory leaks. Yeah, a more angelic kind of a character. And once you see some of the Supernal runes, it'll really click how this thing is supposed to do the thing it's supposed to do. Beauty. Your allies that can see you gain a bonus to saving throws against being charmed. And I would say this should probably be equal to the number of runes you have inscribed. This might need to be equal to half, so they get a +5 bonus. Yeah, it definitely needs to be a +5 bonus at later levels. But Sigillic Grace. You can expedite the natural healing of creatures that wear or carry one of your inscribed celestial runes. As a bonus action on their turn, the creature can spend and roll one of its unspent hit dice and regain a number of hit points equal to the roll plus your intelligence modifier. The number of hit dice that can be spent and added to the healing increases by 1 for each celestial rune you currently have inscribed. This is huge, huge, huge. I would think that it might also, like, I'm looking at it, it might also need to... This is so big. Like, it's natural healing. They have to spend the resource to use it. And, like, here at second level, you can do 2 of these. So it's you and a buddy that get this, right? That's a very nice bonus action. And what you're foregoing is doing your rune stance switches. I almost want to say that this needs to be an action. Like, they need to forego attacking to get this bonus. Because, like, this would just be better than having second wind. Basically. I mean, yeah, you're spending the resource to do this. But it's a lot. And it... This is quite a lot that you're able to just dish out. And like a creature that carries one of the runes, you can put this on a sword and then just pass the sword around and people can just spend their hit dice. And I don't like that. That really cheapens short resting. But I like what this does. I like what this wants to do. There was a show about people who use celestial runes. What show? I like what this wants to do so much. Since you only recover half your hit dice on a long rest, is there a rune that allows for extra hit die recovery? Not? Well, okay. Is this okay? I don't know that this is totally okay. Even the fact that, like, you regain half, right? Like, I mean, could it increase the healing? I think if you got rid of this, and then, like, maybe later, there's other runes that can that can enhance. Like, once a creature, and like, I see where your head's at, Spencer. Like, once a creature regains these hit points, it can't do so again until it completes a short rest or something, maybe. When a creature with one of your runes regains hit points, they gain an additional amount of healing equal to the number of runes you have inscribed. Yeah, I worry about what they can do with Goodberry, but, like, Goodberry is also already kind of a problem spell. Like, you go this, Life Cleric, and Goodberry, that's quite a lot. I guess it's 2 plus the spell's level. Yeah, they do flat. Goodberry getting mixed into that is a little worrisome. Because that means it'll stack with this, and you can go dip for 1 level to just get the Disciple of Life, and that's going to really... that's going to produce a lot of unintended results. I don't know that I'm sold on that. Like... Thank you, Dellybine, for the $5. Celestial Rune Stance is an odd way of saying Jesus stat block. They aren't spells. They're like enchantments that you would put onto a magic item to get its properties, right? Like, that's kind of the way I'm thinking about them. So, how does that work? You can expedite their natural healing. Life Cleric does only affect spells, not runes. Oh, wait. No, you're right. You're right. No, wait. You're right. Yep. You're right. You're right. I like the idea of it playing with hit dice, but I feel like if I get rid of that, it might help it out. When a creature... Okay. You can expect the creatures effect. By them. I'm just making the flavor make sense. Okay. It gains a bonus to the healing. Number of runes you have inscribed. I mean, that's super nice. Now that would stack with healing healing spirit, but healing spirit's not so crazy anymore. They did nerf it. When you crit with this weapon, you regain one spent hit die. You know, ooh, that's actually really nice. Ooh, Phil, what'd you just do? Ooh, that is sick. And you know, like, that's one of the few ways I could justify making a weapon that also has, like a life weapon, you know? Something that has the tag of life and weapon. Well, like, life weapon. What is, man, yeah, oh, I love building into crit. I love building on top of crit. Like, if someone's gonna say, yeah, well, he picked up a lot of these crit runes and was able to, like, get a weapon that whenever he rolled a 20, then he regained a hit die, and he spoke a foreign language for 5 minutes, and, you know, I don't know. That's pretty cool. Oh, and Phil, you'll probably like this. So, Vinci, this second part might look pretty familiar. Phil and I wrote a spell. Phil and I wrote a spell that was, like, kind of trying to fix Compelled Duel. Because, like, we both love what that really wants to do, but it's just not very good at doing it. And I love that. I just took basically the mechanic that we wrote for that and put it into the invoked effect for this rune right here. So if you want to play that hard kind of tank, like a peel tank with a Runekeeper, you can do it here with Vinci. You go pick this up. And the thing that I'm moving towards is including text that says this. Like, Vinci counts as a rune that translates to weapon. So that way, whenever you put it on, like, actually, I could probably trim some of this out to where it's just an enchantment you can put on any object. But if you look at weapon runes, why would it be good that that also counts as a weapon one? Because if it, well, that one doesn't say it. I went with a new, where's the weapon rune? Yeah, here we go. Well, it's armor, but it's a similar effect. Inscribe runes from this rune's language or that share its translation. So if you have any rune that keys off of weapon, then its attack and damage rolls will increase by, they get a +1 bonus for every, like, 3 runes that you get that share that, right? Yeah, I hit a dude so hard he learned that I learned how to speak Draconic, right? I think that's kind of fucking funny. Oh yeah, that's the other thing I had to say. The last subclass that got cut wasn't actually a Runekeeper subclass. It unfortunately is one that made a lot of sense for this supplement, and it will definitely be refined later on. But I did have to cut the Rogue because I just did not have an idea for the subclass features. Like, yeah. That is super funny. That is super funny how that would, like, work out for, like, I hit a dude so hard I spoke Draconic. That's so funny. But on a crit, like whenever the creature crits, it recovers a spent hit die. With everything else that like these runes are keying off of for like Celestial, that's very good. What could that be? Like, it would have to be like Life Blade or something like that. It would probably be a little bit more advanced of a rune. Not that translator. Let's see here. Malpurgi. Do I already have that one in here? Because I've used a couple different translators just to get a good mix. Yeah, Malpurgi. I've already picked that one up. What's another good one for this? Oh, Gamma. Yes. Yeah. I did see your runes. Yeah. I will. I've got the PDF pulled up right now. Booyah. Yes. I 100% agree with those changes to Booyah. Nather's Mischief makes sense. Blink, Confusion, Mislead. All that stuff makes sense. There is a Goblin rune that I do want to design. Saruk? Got cut eons ago. Oh, Saruk. Yes. Yeah. Because I was having a hard time figuring out how to distinguish that from Draconic. That wasn't just going to be, you are the poison snake runes, right? Like, it was just poison. If the target temporarily learned Draconic, you smacked a language into it. Like, you know how funny that is? Why does it... Oh, man, that's so cool. What's the pipeline until you rework the entire fighter to be special on a crit class? Man, you know, I thought about that. And, like, in the last one, we started talking about Ranger, and I'm like, you know what? Ranger makes a lot of sense as the, like, you do cool shit on a crit class. Yeah, Tin Can I did. Sarek is just, it just wasn't really going anywhere. I didn't think that its territory could not be covered by Draconic. I thought that was one that, like, maybe Sarek later on can be the, like, I specialize in poison for some horrific reason, which, like, that could be the class where I look at it and I'm like, you know what, this is going to be my proof of concept for here's how we need to fix poison damage in 5e, right? But, I'm just not sold on it yet. Okay. So this idea of you hit something and then you recover a hit dice. That is a very simple rune. Yeah, I mean, I've done it in the past. But, like, they're always so boring to me, because, like, the prerequisite is always, in order for this thing to be viable, you have to override immunity to poison damage. And that just feels like, cool, you're getting the basic thing to even do damage in the way you want to do damage. Okay, so what's a good, I hit something like Siphon. Okay, what would Siphon be? Because I like that Siphon. Steel? Swool? Would Celestial have a word for steel? Now, if you crit and you don't, and like you don't have a hit dice to regain, that feels like you just kind of lost out a little bit. Maybe drain. What would the rune for that be? Bolster is cool. Yeah, bolster's kind of cool. Am I interested in looking at the actual language of angels, or do I want to stay away from IRL religion? I'd be okay with looking at, like, are you talking about like Enochian? I'd be fine with checking it out. I just want to... Tithe. Oh my god, no. Oh, that's like... No, I can't get into that. Well, they're not really stealing the hit dice either. I do like the idea of bolster, right? Like strengthen, or it's not strength, vitality, life, right? I do like bolster a lot. It's almost like ward in a way, because like this effect is magic. This effect is very magical. What's stopping you from crit fishing against rats? You could just regain your hit dice by like hitting rats, maybe, but like you've got to keep getting those critical hits against it. You know, are you doing things that can guarantee a critical hit? Usually, wait, scores a crit. Described object makes an attack that scores. Is that necessary? Makes an attack that scores a critical hit, because like I don't want it to be it automatically scores a critical hit. That's the thing you have to avoid. If I gave it a ceiling, like up to... Does it really break Bag of Rats? They can only do so a number of times equal to the number of runes you have inscribed. But, like, you can still just pass this around to your buddies, right? Like, I want to keep it to where you don't have to attune to the rune. It's very inefficient to keep trying to just smack rats to do this, right? Object attacks and scores a critical hit. They regain one of their expended hit dice. That already feels like pretty nice. Yeah, very delayed gratification. Yeah, exactly. Except the fact of, like, I mean, this rune right here, I do like the idea of Celestial being the runes that allow you to play with hit dice more. If you have none remaining, you think like that? But that rune feels so weak now. Yeah, I think Draconic Wolf is right. I think that there's so many other ways for you to actually regain the hit points that like this feels a little meh. I think that if you are allowing this on a table that also allows Benjamin's give life cantrip, then like, is there a way for that to heal into infinite? Not without some real weird, not without some interpretations of like anything. Okay, what is automatically a critical hit? What is automatically a critical hit, and what makes it really easy? Conditions. Yeah, it does. I mean, if they have no more than half remaining, like, I don't mind it being a resource generation engine. I just want to make sure that it how easy is it going to be? Um, they're going to have to paralyze something. Yeah, they're going to have to paralyze something or knock it unconscious. That's if it scores a critical hit. Is the wording to say score a critical hit? Does that mean it doesn't work with auto crit? Because well, it is beyond the scope, but Benjamin and Ross's work is, in particular, the stuff that I do watch out for. Their homebrew is pretty much like accepted as gospel at a lot of tables, and I want to make sure that like it works with that. You know, Preacher really wants this rune, by the way. Yeah, I know that there's so much third-party work that like I can't really balance around everything. One of the things that I really liked actually was there was a rule in one of the homebrew groups that I saw that I think even as a homebrew designer, I think I do agree with. If you're really cool rule actually, if you're feeling hesitant about allowing a bunch of different homebrew classes at your table, you'll feel a lot more comfortable if you give one rule, and that's you can't multi-class homebrew into other homebrew. You can't, like, if you're going to take a homebrew class, you should not multi-class that homebrew over into, like, you can't do, like, Magus and Dancer, right? I think that that's actually a pretty fair rule. You don't know what interpretations are going to come up between two designers, how things are going to be, like, coded to work with one or the other, right? It might get ignored, you know, yeah. Scoring is a die roll. Yeah, it's something that I think, like, Vorpal Sword War. Yeah, on an attack roll of 20. What is the Vorpal? Because I think they've usually always said on a crit, but I didn't know there was an item that actually had that wording. 20 on the attack roll. That's probably what needs to be said. Although I don't, okay, this is an instance where I think that if someone took this, like Heavy said, if I took this over into Heavies, where like you get that reduced crit range, that's terrifyingly good. Except, well, not really, because yours is a state. It's like if you don't constantly keep making those attack rolls, then like that's pretty good right there. And that prevents it from, like, someone going over into Heavy's Gunslinger and possibly spamming that, right? Because I do allow for Heavy's Gunslinger. So that means, like, yeah, if someone were going to multi-class that over, which, like, you know, if we didn't allow multi-class from Homebrew, then it's not really a big issue. But, like, that does alleviate a lot of issues. Yeah, I don't think it's broken. I'm not worried about like a interaction like that. Yeah, I don't think it's broken if it were to like do the reduced crit range, mostly because of the, you know, you have the grit state in a way, or not grit, Deadeye state. Incapacitated condition also calls out any attacks that hit is an auto crit or something along those. Yeah. Yeah, attacks and rolls a 20 on the attack roll. That is something that is a very specific call out right there. I think that's the way that should probably be. But like, oh, I do like the idea of what I can do with like some builds. Is it... I like this. I like this wording right here and what that can mean for some other stuff. Yeah, no, exactly, right? There's so many other ways that you can heal more efficiently. I think that that's actually fine. I think it's strong. I don't think that there's anything that's going to do that's going to be inherently busted. And that was for steel. Let's figure out what could be, give me another word for that. When in doubt, let's go to Latin. English word, bolster. Kaput. Polvinus? What is this word? I mean, that... Polvinus? It's almost like, you know what? It's so close to being something else that it's kind of worth it to leave it in for people to find a little gag right there, right? Yeah, I think this is actually pretty okay. The other things that you can do are pretty scary. I want you to be able to regenerate hit dice with this. So you have to score a critical hit. Yeah, I think that's pretty okay. What about making it hit? Ah. Yep, that needs to be there. Attacks a creature so you're not just out there like whacking trees. That's pretty funny. Okay. Yeah, the more efficient thing for you to do is probably just to spend your hit dice during a short rest, which I like some of the healing identity. Celestial is going to get this one, Sacrificium for sacrifice. A willing creature that wears or carries the inscribed object shares their pool of hit dice with the creature that inscribed this rune. Now, that's not... Notice that this isn't like whenever they roll to heal, they also get the healing, right? This is... You are allowed to pull from their hit dice and vice versa. There's some interactions you might be able to do with like Bolster and then Sacrificium, right? Where like, oh, I go over here and I can keep regenerating it and giving it to someone else, and you know, but like I like what this is doing right here because of like this. You spend as many of your hit dice as you would like to create a pool of hit points equal to the total of the rolled dice plus your runic ability modifier. You can then choose any creatures within 30 feet of you and divide those hit points among them. This ability can't be used on constructs or undead. Pretty cool, right? Like, this is... You can blow these hit dice to sacrifice them and then distribute them to your buddies. I think that's a super interesting way to heal right here. Benjamin has his Give Life cantrip. This is like mass Give Life. I think this is pretty sick. You make it so that you regain all expended hit dice on a long rest instead of... Oh, that is something that I had considered. Let me look up here. Heavy, what do you think the level on that should be? Heavy or fill? Like, if you had a feature that just told you you regain all your hit dice on a long rest rather than half, that feels like way early level play, right? Like, I mean, maybe second? When you finish. And like, you could dip over to this and get this really nice feature that's when you finish a long rest, you regain all your expended hit dice rather than half. But like, is anyone gonna multi-class dip over here to get this? I don't think so. And I can't think of anything that's like... Third, I mean, I think that this is actually pretty okay. Yeah, the hostile creature wording is kind of our caveat to get around that. Oh, it's literally the 6 on that? Really? It's like, oh man, all these rune stances are so strong. Like, I'm worried about the power budget of the 6th. I don't want to give you too many things at the 6th. No, I know what to do with that. I know what to do with that. That, my friends, is going to be a rune. What is the Latin word for sleep? Somna? Is it somnia? Somnum. Oh, I was so close. Okay. I need to... Also, if you submitted runes over in the Discord, I will be taking a look at those here pretty quick. Boom. Now, that does not need to really require attunement. I think it needs to be an object that can be worn. Yeah, Draconic Wolf got it right. Now, the prerequisite on that, that's where we can say... It doesn't need to be any armor, any yeah, it would that would be a really cool racial feature. What would like the race be, right? Some like a race whose like I guess background is in sleep. Like you are literally a creature of pure ethereal dream. Like a creature built off the essence of a dream. That's pretty cool, right? You think second tier is too late? Well, I think it's okay if everything else is keying off of your hit dice. Like, all these other runes are allowing you to expend your hit dice for that to be the unique healing that you get out of a rune, right? Like the healing system for all the runes, at least for Celestial, is for sure going to be tied to hit dice. Yeah, unless they can cast Give Life. Yeah, that cantrip goes a long way into giving hit dice a real weight. The Lumi? Is that like canon? Sure. Now, what's the cool invoked effect for that? Something. Oh, wait. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, heavy. Like, everything else that this class is doing is or the subclass is doing is allowing you to really play off of the hit dice and everything. So, I think it's 7th. That's probably where that needs to be. Now, I don't know, one action? Sure. Cannot be. Hey, Blue Thumbnail, how's it going? Is it Scryed? What are we doing today? Trying to see how the hell I can get this thing out the door. You're doing vegetable gardening. Nice. What are we trying to grow? Right? Like, that's a big nothing burger, though. I mean, like, that feels like, I guess, some sense of safety. But like, not really. That is such a situational. That is so situational. Needs a ribbon kicker, you think? You think it needs a ribbon kicker in the passive effect or the invoked effect? Because, like, sleeping creatures within 60 feet of the rune are immune to divination magic. That's cool. But, like, I don't think it's all that crazy strong. You'd buy that? One action for 8 hours. Like, this is such a specific instance, though. Some people would look at Somnum as, like, kind of the requirement for you to pick up to make a lot of use out of all your other stuff. I do have that kind of already heavy, like here, Sacrificium, how does, oh, ooh, wait. There are also other ways that you can get healing magic in this rune, or these runes. Like if you go life, this would allow you to get cure wounds, and I mean, whenever you're at 5th level, you can get a lot of instances of cure wounds with this one right here. You can get revivify, all that good stuff. But this is going to be half caster scaling, so the earliest you'd be able to get one of these is actually kind of late. It could be made even later if you're not strictly investing into your runic, like one specific runic language. Sometimes celestial. Harder to detect in general, like that, you know, that could be kind of cool. Like, what's the difference here? Sleeping creatures. Oh. Is this odd? They can't, like... Is that good at all? Like, you could literally sleep in an open field and a pack of wolves could come up on you and they can't find you. I don't think that's all that bad. Am I weird for thinking that this is actually, like, pretty okay? Advantage against sleep effect spells. You think at 7th level with that requirement, it couldn't just be immune? Yeah, we do have a precedent for features that make you immune to scrying and being sought out by divination magic. It's not Mastermind, right? Sounds similar to Make Camp. What was Make Camp? What is that in Shaman? 8 hours, casting time of 1 minute. I might actually agree with that. It probably needs to get bolstered to 1 minute. You shouldn't be able... Actually, yes. Okay, now I see why that needs... Yep. You should not be able to do that in combat. I mean, they have to be asleep. There's ways that you could... There's ways you can make that happen. Beasts will not enter the area unless magically... Oh, that's it right there. That is such a good one. Like, oh. To perceive or find the camp. Yeah, this is basically the effect I'm thinking of. Not... Yeah, I don't want it to be invisible, and I think Ross is right on the narrative of it, right? Like, I think it needs to be disadvantaged on ability checks to perceive or find the camp. And climate effects on that. This is a really good spell. Like, this is one of those things, right, where like whenever we were talking in the other one about different dynamics, what evokes the playstyle of like being the heart, this feels so heart, so heart. so heart, so navigator, like, you know, preventing surprise. Yeah, that this is all about that, like, I'm gonna prevent surprise kind of thing. I don't mind it being on armor. You can't properly sleep in armor. I think you can't sleep in heavy armor, right? What was the... Wait, that's Legends of Frozen Fire. And creatures have disadvantage on ability checks to perceive or find. Yeah, I think that's how that needs to work. That's very nice. So I think that makes sense to like give it something like that. Melatonin gummies. Yeah, advantage is going to be nice. Yeah, like you're saying, resource generation, right? Like, this is very good. The invoked effect is like, I mean, of 1 minute, that means that you can't really cast it in combat, which, like, are you going to do that? No, because they're asleep, right? Does it need the full minute? Realistically, when you're out of combat, 1 minute is the same as one action. I mean, if we're talking about just exploration stuff, you know. Well, I mean, I say that. No, that's not necessarily true, but just give me that. Needs to specify if animal companions and familiars can enter the area. Oh, I guess if it's hostile, yeah. Or, yeah. Creature spending, taking a rest within 60 feet of the rune. It's a divination magic. Other creatures. Does that make sense? No, wait. Creatures, finish. Okay. This sounds kind of... Did I hear our anti-work Didn't like one of the moderators go on like Fox News or something, and or no, he went on like CNN or something and gave like a really bad interview, right? Fox News interview. It went private. Ooh. I didn't actually see the interview yet. I haven't actually seen it, but from what I understand, it was pretty cringe performance. But again, haven't actually seen it, so I don't really know. Or was it more so that the guy just like definitely looked like a Reddit mod? Like, because I saw a picture of the guy and I was like, oh man, I think if you're gonna go on national television, you should probably like shower, you know? Okay. Man, yeah, and Fox is probably pretty happy about that. Oh, that's a shame. Yeah, imagine being embarrassed by a Fox News anchor. Well, you know, whenever you're not used to actually being in the public eye like that, like, if your message is gonna be that, like, yeah, nobody should work, then, like, if you show up and you look like a slob, probably not great optics. Just trying to get that in alphabetical order. Okay. Go change that. All right. So, while I've got that kind of in a state where I kind of like it, now it will affect creatures while they're within 60 feet of the rune, right? They're immune to divination magic, and creatures that were not within the area when it was invoked have disadvantage on ability checks made to perceive or find them. These benefits end early if the creature finishes a short or long rest. Does that make sense? Like, would be detrimental to Elves and Warforged? I mean, would it be? They may not rest as long, but they are still technically like resting, right? I think that's okay. I think that this is fine. Well, and this might be one of those things where it's like, it's pretty, yeah, it makes sense, right? Why would they even go on Fox News? Oh, okay. How long is the video? I mean, I don't want to watch like a Fox News thing on here, but oh, is it really? It's the top of Cringetopia. I mean, I don't want Fox to claim my freaking live stream. Wow, that bad, huh? 50,000. 50,000 upvotes. Hang on. Four minutes long. Yeah, I don't want to get it super off topic because I really do want to get this Runekeeper done, but I'm interested in checking that out. Okay. So let me get back on that. Yeah, after the Smiling Friends thing, I don't know that I really want to risk it again. I mean, I got the claim removed though, or the claim got lifted. So it seems like Adult Swim was actually kind of cool with people posting reactions to the yeah. Just show my face reacting. Ignore the fox. Yeah, I'll. Yeah, let me stay on track here, because I don't want to get too super heavy into that one. So we've got that one. Resource generation. Some people are gonna look at this and think like, why is this requiring 7th level? But like, this is really damn good actually. I might even say that like, I think that could be, yeah. Oh, thanks, Tyler. I think that this is really cool. Like, sacrifice, or like, if it could be like a love rune, right? Sacrifice seems so cool. I do think somebody submitted this one a while back, and I love just this as a core, like, boom, this is a big boy rune right here. They get advantage on all saving throws they make with Fem Gisdon. Like, ooh. But, like, good lord, what could the invoked effect be that would be, like, even, I guess, like, this is spicy. Boom. You and each of your allies within 60 feet of you make saving throws with advantage until the start of your next turn. How many times should you be able to do that in a fight? Probably no more than 3. That's a big boy rune. That is a big old scary rune right there. Keeping it tied to Dialect of Supernal makes me almost think that, like, ooh, that's so good. Isn't this there's another spell. What it's not Foreshadow. Foresight? What's the it's like an 8th level spell. Sharing that, yeah. I like that you guys see where I, yeah, right? I feel like it's an 8th level spell. It's not Feeble Mind. Is it a 9th level spell? What am I thinking of? She's a big boy. Yeah, here it is. I like the kind of mirror that it has here. No, I like it as like it's there for a round. Foresight being a 9th level spell is very damn good, and it's only one willing creature. Also can't be surprised, but it also has advantage on attack rolls, ability checks, and saving throws. Other creatures have disadvantage on attack rolls against them for the duration. Like, yeah, yeah, I'd say we're pretty good at making it to where you can do this for one round. I think this is pretty alright. I don't think it needs to be. This is cinematic enough and powerful enough to where this should be your action. This should definitely be your action. And you guys seem to also forget about this class's goddamn 11th level feature. So, you can technically do that rune. Oh, dang it. You can do that rune with Rune Chant. I need to make it to where you can only have one instance of that rune ever inscribed. That is very big. That is a big, nice actualization of what Celestial Runes are supposed to be. That type of protection in there. That's significant. It is so good. Does it need to be a ward? That is probably the best ward, like the upper level for what warding needs to be. Strength. Should it be? So 14th level Runekeeper. We can make it to where you need to have like 6 runes inscribed already. 14th level. Yeah. Make it to where... Make it to where you have 7 other runes inscribed. Son of a gun class. Yeah, make it to where you have to have 7 other runes inscribed. None of the other runes can be how do I phrase that? 7 other runes inscribed, none of which are Fam Gizdon. Okay, so you all see why I'm doing this. I write the prerequisite 7 other celestial runes inscribed. That means that you have to have the ability to inscribe 8, right? So that's 14th level that this gets put behind, and making it so where you can only ever get this one once. None of the other, like, if I get 9 runes and I can do like 2 copies of Fam Gizdon, no, you're only ever going to be able to get this rune one time, right? I think that's a really nice rune right there. Yeah, it's supposed to prevent stacking, exactly. Any object requires attunement. Yeah, you shouldn't be able to pass this around. I want to go with this. I like the bearer of this rune. That feels really cool. Like, because that can mean any object, so yeah, you can put it on whatever. I think that this works. It does. It make sure that you have to go pretty hardcore into Celestial in order to get this, but I think that you should. I think you really should need to. Mads, I did think about that. Where there are certain runes, because I've already kind of built that precedent. For Abyssal, some of the runes are going to be for, oh God, come on, Adobe. There we go. Some of the runes are going to be like runes that are named after like certain demon lords. So like Baphomet's rune is going to say Beast Master, like Beast, comma, Master. So that way you can only have like this one inscribed, right? That was my way of thinking about it to where like nothing is going to share that except for another Master rune, but make it to where the Master runes are like this same kind of wording that I went with earlier. You have to have 7 other runes inscribed, none of which can be this. I think that's the way it needs to go. I also wrote one for Orcus that I need to do that, apply that to. I might say none of which can translate to Master. So that way you can't get Baphomet as well as Orcus, as well as, you know what I mean? Now we have to watch the entire movie before playing? What? The Baphomet rune is kind of cool. I'm very happy with this one, because, like, I just basically took everything that, like, kind of identified how Baphomet is going to fight, and then, like, incorporated it to where you could, for a minute, kind of feel like you'd harness that power, right? This top part, this is all ribbon. This is just the Labyrinthian Recall, right? Except it comes with this additional effect right here. They're immune to the maze spell. If it...
I'm back.
Hey.
Hello.
I'm live streaming.
Alrighty. Hello, everyone.
Man, I just got back from class. Maze. So, an 8th level spell. This is big. Like, even though it's specific, something that's going to override an 8th level spell of any kind should probably come with, like, of submissive runes. It should definitely be tied to, like, that kind of upper level power. Like, chat says, hey! And then, oh, so not only do you get immunity to maze spell, you also just get reckless attack. Like, and I wanted it to be, you have to go this late into the Runekeeper to get something that is like really defining for what Barbarian can do. So that way you can't multi-class over and then have this redundancy and yada yada yada, right? This steals a pretty big part of Barbarian, but this is what was built onto Baphomet in the stat block, so I'm like, I think for flavor, let's give you something pretty cool, right? Now, the invoked effect, it becomes frightened for a minute, right? With 120 feet. I feel like it would have been cool if it was like more than just like they're scared of them, right? And I don't feel like it really stacks up, but like, damn, that is a huge radius. Like, well, you know what? I can touch the Baphomet stuff later. This was the important thing. I just about got sidetracked. I want to look at... Alright. So Gamma sent me some runes to consider. Booyah. The Goblin Master rune. It could be Master. It could be like, you know, the Master runes. I think that was like the cool place to kind of put that level of power, right? Like, once you learn a Master rune, like a rune that translates to Master or whatever, you can't inscribe another one that also inscribed or, you know, turns to Master or whatever. I think that as a pretty consistent, like, you can't stack these is a good way to go with that. Tasha's Hideous Laughter, Nathar's Mischief, Blink, Confusion, Mislead. Elfield's Goblin. Yeah. That's good work. I think that the one thing I was thinking about with Goblin was, like, what can you pull from the Nilbog, right? Let me pull this real quick and then go over to Goblin. What time is it? 7:44? I'm just trying to make sure I do got to get to bed on like at a decent time. Alright. So Booyah. Something's got to really win it for Booyah. I think Tasha's Hideous Laughter makes some sense, right? Oh, cool. Hey, Spencer, thank you so much for the $10, man. Just want to let me know that you think you're finished on the Google Doc with the runes. You know if it'll help right now with the rune design process, but I appreciate it. Yeah, I'll go over and take a look at it. You shared it with me in Discord, right? And with Discord being so funky today, then let me make sure I see it. Runekeeper, Goblin, and you have yes, thank you. Good God, man, you are like such an awesome bookkeeper here. Seriously, like, okay, I just want to shout out like how awesome my community is because, wait, I gotta make sure that doesn't show my email. Okay. Like, you guys really spoil me. Spencer went through and is basically compiling the runes that went into the document so far that he's seen, or the ones that were listed, and then which ones have been written, which ones have been like, dude. I still need to pull so many of these over, like, and seeing this, it's also reinforcing to me, like, yeah, I'm making the good move by, I'm making the good move for now by trimming back on some of these. Yeah, Spencer MVP right here. This is huge. So if they're bold and underlined, then the rune has been written at one point. I'm taking it, Spencer. Like, oh man. Yeah, this is crazy, dude. Thank you so much. I need, yeah. So, would you, did you type a key out anywhere for what the? Oh, okay, there we go. Has a runic description, is in an older doc. Has a runic description in the older doc. While a runic, you know what, like, dude. So those of you that maybe you're newer here and you don't know what happened. My computer crashed midway through designing the Runekeeper, and it has been a nightmare to try and pull stuff from all around, trying to just get this class done. This class is already like a pretty huge demanding piece of work, and having lost all that work from basically back like 2 months was a huge blow. So it has been super cool to see people trying to help out with, like, you know, hey man, what can I do? Can I take something off your plate? The fact that there's so many of you that have been like trying to help make this happen, yeah, thank you so much, man. Only has a runic inscription in the older doc. Okay. Alright. My dude. You rock. Seriously. Thank you so much. So there's stuff I need to pull over from the other dock still. Also in Legends of Frozen Far, there's a few runes I know I also need to pull over. We will get in on that. I've been going for 2 hours. Let me take a 10-minute break. I'll probably be going, it's almost 8 o'clock here. I'll probably going until like 9:30. But I want to be sure that I'm knocking out as many runes as I can tonight. The Booyah. What was Booyah over here? Because if it was that like weird explode rune, that can go on something else. Just trying to remember what the original... Grease is so funny though to put on this one. Oh my god. I like Crown of Madness a little bit more than Nalthar's Mischief, because Nalthar's is like tied into the idea of Nalthar's is tied into a dragon that already exists. I did write Stinking Cloud, which I think is hilarious. What'd you put at third? Blink? I do... Okay, I think that this list makes a lot of sense on, like, a Thieves' Cant one. I think the absurdity of this having Stinking Cloud is, like... I kind of want to keep this here. Confusion, yeah, you and I totally agree there. Mislead, yeah, totally agree there. I do think that those are the two that I would probably change. But I did write this old one before the crash. To synergize with the Goblin subclass. In the dice roll thing, right. Is Nalthar's a random roll? Nalthar's or... Oh, you wrote a different one that did it? Was it in this document or is that in another one? Chaos Stone. The inscribed object can be used to make a ranged weapon attack by hurling or throwing it with a sling. Force damage. Yeah, so these, like, you inscribe it, you throw it, and it comes back to your hand. This is like, I'm pretty okay with this being a regular thing. It's already in the class. Oh, that's right. Yes, this one from last stream. Okay. The fart ward thing. Right. Okay. Yeah, I guess it does mean Stinking Cloud would be a little bit redundant in there. Yeah, okay, I can see I can see the reason why you're going with that. And then I guess Blink would make it to where you can re-roll the Blink die, right? Let me see how the wording of that spell really works. Oh, come on. There you go. It's not rolling it on a table, but it's on a roll of 11 or higher. Okay, so Nalthair's... Sure, I spelled that wrong. Nathair. Because of its unpredictable nature. I can see that. The other one I was thinking, what did I put originally? Invisibility. Yeah, I don't think invisibility makes sense to me either now. I do kind of want to give them Crown of Madness. But I guess that's inflicting the madness on somebody else. And that does feel pretty, like, demonic or devilish. So I get, yeah, I can see why that, okay. Mislead is so funny. Yeah, and then confusion. Blink, I don't mind. Invisible. What? Invisibility is second level? Wait, what? I thought it was third. Is it second level? Wow, that is a second level spell. Why did I think that was a third level spell? Huh. Well, that's what I get for assuming. Okay. Yeah, weird. I wonder what I was doing. Okay. The one I did want to look at though real quick. They get confusion, that's why I added that. Tasha's got that. Vicious Mockery, Mage. Okay, so they don't really have... A Nilbog doesn't have... Because that's why I gave him invisibility, because I thought that the Nilbog was going to get it. Okay. Yeah, I guess I can't really think of another third. And your suggestion is Blink. I guess Blink works. Because my ideas were Blink or Stinking Cloud and Invisibility. Oh man, Stinking Cloud. Yeah, but Blink feels fey to me. Like, I think only reason I want to override that and say Stinking Cloud instead, one of the other runes having a kind of like, you know, cloud of fart effect, just kind of building on the idea, right? Like, cool, we'll have the stink and then we have this, right? And then if they have another means of doing it, right? Like they have their action to do it this way, or up here with Stinking Cloud, they're not even going to really get access to that until like 9th level anyways. Blink, it's not that I don't... It's not that I think it's a bad pick. It's just that I think that Stinking Cloud, giving it something to kind of build off of, like, you know what I mean? kind of making it to where there's like a gradient kind of like some kind of through line with it. I think I prefer Stinking Cloud in that. Ooh, plus, I mean, look at that. Look at that. Yeah, either's not bad. Let me take a look at what else you got. And then I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna take a 10-minute break, see what Amanda wants to do for dinner. But yeah, I will be right back. I'm gonna have some coffee as well, so I'll be here until about 9:30. So hang out, check out the music and stuff on here. Anyways, guys, I will be right back. Well, hello. So you guys want to see something a little behind the curtains? Yada-da. Oh, where do I have it? So I've got 2 videos coming up soon. I will be working this weekend on getting tutorials on how to play the Dancer and the Merchant. Let me see. I already got the thumbnails made because, yeah. I wanted to make these. I've been meaning to make these for a while. I've had people asking constantly for me to make tutorials on how to play these. So I will. I'll have these both created. I should have done this, honestly, like the smarter move would have been for me to have done this back whenever I first published the classes. Yeah. But this will be a thing. I'm going to be working on these this weekend. So, yeah, tutorials for those coming out soon-ish. And I also plan on making one for the Runekeeper once this one gets fleshed out. Would love to see one for Merchant, then I will... I need to prioritize the Merchant, you know. That being... Oh, actually... Hang on, let me check. The Merchant is getting scary close to Platinum. Like, scary close. What do we got? I think the last time I checked it was about 120 away. 120 to like 130. And I mean I have all kinds of like ideas for like I want to do a promo for that, like going up to Platinum. Like I don't know what, but I need to do something to get that final push in. Let's see. Let's try 2017. I'll run that report and let that churn for a minute. Okay, let me see what else you came up with. Truth. You know, it's funny because Trek and I were talking about like what the identity of some of the languages would be. I was like, are goblins gonna have a word for truth? I think actually 1 psychic damage, 2d8, because I think it had something similar to that. Yeah, I made it where it was like a shock detector. Why'd you, was there a reason you switched it to, psychic damage? Wisdom saving throw. As if by the detect thoughts spell for 1 minute. So you made it like a little bit more useful as like a mind reading thing. I thought and I think that this could work for like repurposing it as like maybe the like double one, you know. I think this all makes a lot of sense as like the double, you know, interrogation one. The invoked effect, this feels a little bit too, it feels a little too advanced for Goblin Rune. You know what I mean? I think that Goblin Rune should feel like at any moment they might just randomly explode. You know what I mean? Yeah, the way that I had it was, it discharges its latent electricity. Creatures within 20 feet of the object must make a dexterity saving throw. On a failure, it takes 2d8 lightning damage and can take reactions until the start of its next turn. So it's like a blast of a shocking grasp in a way. And then it increases by 1d8 for every 2 goblin runes you have inscribed, right? I think that what you've written here makes a lot of sense as like something that's a little bit more advanced of a runic language than Goblin. And I don't mind that being a thing, but I'd like to do something that could distinguish them a little bit more. But it does make me think I need to copy this one over. Yeah, no. There we go. You took the flavor in a different direction. Yeah, and I think it makes a lot of sense as, like I said, something that's maybe slightly more advanced than a Goblin Rune. Because, like, to me, the Goblin Runes, what's going to make the most sense for them is, like, they need to feel like you are basically messing with a loaded firearm. Like, it needs to just be ridiculous, right? And I think this idea of it being this, like, shock collar is pretty funny. And then it just discharges it. So it's like a shock bomb. I think that I need to fix that scaling on there too. That's such a specific scaling. I don't know that that's going to be all that great. Could be Abyssal. It could be Abyssal. If I combine all three of my products on the guild and have copper. It is a slow build. It is a, like, sometimes, like, I'm in a different kind of a situation, right? Like, I've done a lot of work on the guild at this point to kind of do promos of promo via my own products are going to sell my other products. I think, like, once I release the Runekeeper, if I were to release the Runekeeper before the merchant went platinum, I think people seeing the Runekeeper would push them over to go check out my other stuff as well, if they haven't already, you know, and vice versa. So, like, it's about the body of work that you put out there. Collaborations can help a lot with that. I know every time that I work with, like, you know, like I just did with Trek, right? The fact of I worked on home field advantage creates a, let me show you what I mean. Hang on one sec. Okay. So, like, here's the, hey, we went silver with this thing? Hell yeah. We've gotten really good promos on this, like, very, very good. And the people that are all working on this, a lot of these people have several bestsellers on the guild already. But if you look at the storefront page for it, and I scroll down, more from this title's contributors. Let me look over. Boop, see my dancers popping up right here. There's one of mine, that's one of mine. That's one of mine. That's one of mine. That's another one of mine. I'm surprised the merchant is this far back. Dancer? Yeah, where's the merchant? Oh, are you kidding me? Where's the merchant? Why is the merchant not up here? Huh, I wonder why that is. Is the dancer a hotter seller right now? Let me see. Yeah, from the makers of, yeah, it's great marketing, right? I think, looking at the top 10, right? Or the most popular titles right now. Hey, there's Heavy. Like, if you're up here, you put in some crazy sales. Where are the realms? I want to check this one out so bad. This looks pretty funny. It's a pub crawl of, like, a house on, like, the Baba Yaga hut, but it's literally a pub that crawls. This sounded so funny. It's an interesting concept. I want to check that adventure out. I wanted to say that, like, the pugilist and, like, the merchant were up still in, like, the top 100. Yeah, there's the pugilist. I wanted to say, yeah, I wasn't super far behind Ben. I guess I've fallen off a little bit. What? Shore Dreams. I'm surprised Shore Dreams is this far back. Is it? Oh, chronological? Okay. That would make sense. The merchant's been up for like 3 years. Now, yeah, live stream and me scrolling through the top. Yeah, a lot of these I'm seeing are like, yeah, Mithril bestseller. A lot of these I'm seeing up here have been up here for a very long time. Wow, okay. I guess I'm falling off a little bit. What about character options? Blood Hunter is this far back. Okay, I might not be up here anymore then. Yeah, that was doing work. The Haunts, yeah. Now I'm just curious. Class. Community, there we go. Yeah, there's the Pugilist, there's the Blood Hunter. Okay, the Dancer's actually doing better than the Merchant right now. The Scholar. Shaman. I thought I was up here. Huh. Did I go past that? Womp womp. Okay. Legends of Frozen Far. Weird. Huh. I wonder why. Elementalist. I don't know that I believe this. I mean, there's a lot of Ross's stuff on here right now. Oh, did I pass it? Oh, okay. Okay. Hang on. All right. I did skip it. Oh, okay. Yes. All right. Yeah. Okay. That is I was like, wait, what? What? Oh no! Like, all right. For that to be like, I'm pretty stoked to have these two up here. Like, not gonna lie. Okay. Anyways, so, but whenever you're working on a bunch of different products, oh, was it at 101? Yeah, like, and that's the thing, right? You, by working on a bunch of other products, your other work will get a chance to kind of get bolstered up, right? And then usually whenever people discover you and they're like, oh, I really like this, what's going on? Then they'll check out like what else this guy has made, right? That will get you a lot more well, I say a lot more sales. That gets you a lot of sales, a shocking amount. Working on Tasha's Crucible, that also started selling some of my other stuff. So yeah, I mean it does help out to just have that kind of body of work there. And then whenever something takes off, it's going to wind up selling more copies of the other stuff as well. Is it still generating the report on the... Okay, there we go. I am exactly 150 away from platinum on the merchant. And then the dancer is 124 away from getting gold. Man, the day that goes platinum, I swear I'm gonna lose it. In a good way. Okay. So. Yeah, I think the tutorials are gonna go really well. Especially like anytime I've talked about, like, you know, the classes I allow at my table video, I'm like, how do I get that magic back, right? Because that got like 50,000 views in a week. That was insane. I have not been able to figure out like that magic again. So I think what I'm gonna do is do those tutorials and see if those don't like take off in some capacity. This is a goblin rune I want to make work. Actually, okay, I want you guys, I'll read this off, and I want you guys, if there's any questions, let me know. There's a very specific thing that this is supposed to evoke. You'll be able to name the video game immediately, right? As a bonus action, the attuned creature can materialize a glowing latent magical explosive with an AC of 15 and 1 hit point. They can throw the, this should probably say explosive, at a point up to 60 feet away as an action, or as a part of the same bonus action they took to materialize it, and detonate it with a subsequent action or bonus action. The bomb also explodes, or I guess the bomb explodes early if it's reduced to 0 hit points. Each creature within 5 feet of the explosive when it detonates makes make a dexterity saving throw, taking 2d6 thunder damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one. This rune's damage increases by 1d6 for every 2 goblin runes you have inscribed, or that translate to chaos or gift in common. Breath of the Wild, right? It's the Breath of the Wild bomb. I wanted you to be able to just like materialize the bomb, right? Like, oh, that's so good. I love that. So air or her. I think I made it gift, but like this needs to, yeah, there needs to be something for that to scale on. I thought it was really funny for it to be gift, and it's literally just like you give them a bomb. That, yeah, but it could be something else. It could be something else. I need to work on that. It was the gift rune. I think what this could be. Oh, you know what's funny? Okay. Bonus action, you can stack it, throw them, and then you'd have to use your action on your next turn to detonate it. Now, would this need to, oh no. Ooh, Daryl asked a really good question. Yeah, this is supposed to be that you know, wombo combo, right? Like, okay, so Daryl asked a really good question. How can one get into a collaboration project for a supplement on the guild? First off, like having some products already that people can reference, like who are you, whatever, is yeah, Hermine's gift, and it is canon. You can make a minefield out of it. So, how do you get involved with a collaboration? Okay, so follow. I'm not a fan of Twitter. You guys know that already. But following guys that are creators on the guild is the way for you to at least put the feelers out there. You know, follow. Trek just did Home Field Advantage, and the way that I got in contact with Trek was actually through Heavy. So, you know, like, you get to know those people on the guild. I really wanted to do a collaborative project, but taking on a management role is a big ask. That's why, like, I even posted over on Twitter, like, a praise for Trek, because Home Field Advantage was so well managed, and like, every bit of that from start to finish was, like, extremely professionally handled. So I give Trek a lot of props for that one. Finding those, and I would say it's also important to make sure that you, that shared translations. Chaos gift. There we go. Boom, something like that. Okay, so yeah, it's not, well, yes, you can learn a lot by working on these products with other creators. I'm kind of choosy about getting into a collaboration these days. Not because, like, really just more so because of, like, the time I have to put into it, right? Yeah, having to manage an entire team on top of that is pretty insane. So, like, getting in on a collaboration, though, like, check out the people who usually do those kinds of projects. Also, like, there's a lot of the creators that are over in my community that, like, we talk about, you know, maybe a heads up about certain projects to possibly avoid. So it's important to be pretty discerning about the jobs that you take on. Getting involved in a collaboration that goes south is not a fun time. Really not a fun time. Making sure that you can vet, you know, who it is that's leading it. Yeah. Silver? Oh, is it loud? Sorry. Let me get that. Okay, then I'll clarify that last thing then, since the music was apparently a little bit loud. Be sure you ask around to other designers, like, hey, there's this project that's going on. What can you tell me about working with this person or whatever? Especially, like, I will say you should definitely vet who you're going to work with as much as they're probably going to vet you, if not more. Yeah, Mad said, I mean, obviously you have to be fluent in the system and improve the ability to design, but if you have no presence in the space, you got to know people in order to get your foot in the door. Something like that, right? Like, people kind of already knew me because of the merchant, but I'm trying to think of, like, what really got the merchant going over, right? I think that I had worked with Benjamin and Ross. Like, I had hired them on as mechanical consultants because I was like, you're two designers that I really, really respect. And this is back whenever we were still, like, acquaintances more than, like, friends, you know? I had done reviews of The Pugilist, The Magus, and The Accursed. And I was like, you know what? I want to get real serious about designing here. Not just, like, I had written some classes in the past, but I saw Benjamin and Ross's work and really got to talking with them, and I was like, these are guys that I want to learn from, right? So I had hired, I asked them both, I was like, what would it take to get you guys to help me get this class that I really want to make happen to the kind of level of polish of what you guys do, right? And from having them on as mechanical consultants and, like, just being able to ask them whatever, right? Like, that went so far, so far. I learned a lot from that experience, and, like, it really helped to shape like my approach to the game. And ever since working on that one, I since started working on some other classes, studied up on the game a lot since I first started this YouTube channel. Like, oh, you wanted to make Tressa from those games? Yeah, like, I tried to figure out, like, a niche that wasn't really served in the game. The merchant felt like, is there really a way that you can do this in D&D? And I didn't think so. Because I kept comparing it to the Artificer, and mine was actually before the official Artificer got put out. But, like, I kept comparing it to the Artificer, and the Artificer never really scratched the itch, right? You can play an Artificer that sells their items, I guess, but, like, meh. I'd work with some guys that I really respected, and, like, it's part of why I have the pro designer tag on the Discord. So, like, if those guys are talking, really check out what they have to say. If they're giving you critique on your work, I will say that most everybody, like, there's not a single person that's on that list whose word I wouldn't take as gospel. Yeah, like, if they give you that critique, eat it up. Eat it up. I've tried to explain a bit about my design philosophies here on the channel, so, like, if you like my work, go back and, like, watch some of my videos. I've tried to make it, like, as educational of a process as I can. But here's the thing, like, I've only been writing for this game for, like, 4 years. So, you know, if you're feeling like, oh, I just don't know whenever I can write something that feels like it's got the level of, like, professional polish or whatever. Oh God, right? Matt said it right there. Can I hire you as a consultant versus can you help me? I'll pay you an exposure. Also builds a lot of respect. Yeah. You know, like, it's not like you're paying somebody to put their name on a thing as, like, their seal of approval. It really is, like, whenever I'm hiring someone as a consultant these days, I'm like, break my class. You know, take this and break it for me so I can figure out the flaws, right? But back then it was like, no, I was really trying to learn from Benjamin and Ross a lot. I wanted to pick their brains on, like, okay, what does it take to make a class feel really cool, unique, and like it's throwing something into the game? And then, I know I saw him in the chat here earlier, but someone that I just had conversations with from getting to know him over the last, I guess, year or two, Heavy found my YouTube channel, and then, like, from talking with Heavy, it was like, okay, now I know, I feel like now I know better than I did 2 years ago what it takes to sell a class idea on someone, right? Why you should get started in building a class out. And that was back whenever I was working on the Dancer. And, like, working on the Dancer was a challenge because Rogue Watson had said, I'm kind of tired of seeing classes that, like, they're getting spell casting and that's, like, the thing that they do, and it's kind of boring. And I'm like, you know what? Can I make a martial class that's a martial support and isn't just like the commander, right? So with talking with Heavy on that, I was like, what can I do here? What's the cool, intriguing, and interesting thing? And then I would throw some of my ideas out over at him, and Heavy was telling me, like, well, can you make that work? Is that cool? Like, what's the fun of it, right? What's the, what aesthetic are you, like, evoking from the thing? And can you justify the core building out something that can't already be done in the game? So, yeah, like, building up your reputation like that, if you do something that's exciting and flashy and catches people's eyes, like, that's going to be the thing that gets people to go, like, who is this dude or dudette? And then, like, how can I learn, or what do I want to work with them, right? So people seeing your work, following people on social media and just kind of being like, hey, you know, you're working on a project, cool, let me check it out. Or, you know, being present, right? It's that networking, you know. But also be genuine. be really genuine about like who you are. Make it real clear, like, yeah, I'm really into D&D design. I thought I'd check out your work as well. Because whenever people are like, if you take the approach, right, of like, I want to get ahead in this industry and I want to learn from you, that feels a little bit like you start off that relationship in a weird, person of deutery. You start off that relationship on a weird foot. I had done my review of like Benjamin's classes because I was like, no, this feels really cool and unique. I want to showcase this in a way. And Benjamin found me from finding my video on it, and my video on his pugilist. And I brought a lot to the table with that one because it's like a really well edited video. And then I had talked about doing one for the Magus because I had seen his other work, and then Benjamin started to promote me, recommended me to Ross. That's how I got to know Ross, and so networking. What do you bring to the table, and then from other people appreciating what you bring to the table, you can start to work with those people, learn from those people, and eventually get to the point where they're asking you to like help them out on their projects, right? Like, yeah. I hope that was helpful. But yeah, that number one rule, right? Don't be a dick. Like, for real. It's like, it's weird how simple the rule, like that rule is, but how far it will really take you. I've grown a lot. I'd say from. There's a lot of experience that you get from just being online for 3 or 4 years like I have, building up that kind of community and reputation or whatever. If people find your work and they really like you, they'll let you know, either that's from subscribing on YouTube or your Patreon, or calling you up for work, or just letting you know like, hey, I really like your stuff. Even comments or reviews are really nice to get. Yeah. Yeah, don't be a dick is usually a good guideline in general. And like, I want to, I really want to help people like with the channel. I really appreciated what Ross and Benjamin did for me, where like, I feel like I had general design sensibilities for the game, and I feel like I knew 5e really, really well. But I didn't know what made a class super interesting, and so I wanted to study that, right? I wanted to figure out and do the research into like what makes something fun to play. So that's whenever I had talked with them, and it was like, oh, okay, now we're seeing like what is fun in this game is usually whenever you can evoke something that feels like, oh, I'm thinking about playing D&D in an entirely different way, right? Like, that's what you want to bring to the table with a class. I have a cookie on my desk that I don't know how old it is. This sounds good. I think this can't be more than a week old, right? Oh no, it's still soft. We're good. Yeah. Whenever you, like, people are busy, respect them being busy, all that good stuff, right? One person I really want to work with, let me make sure. One person I really want to work with in the future, but I know he's super busy with a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm just trying to make sure. Yeah. Okay. So I've talked with Chris Zito. We actually we trauma bonded, I guess you could say. We had a situation come up where like both of us we got a little scammed by someone that pledged to our Patreons, and so we we found out from talking with each other that like, hey, this same person appears to be sponsoring you and me. What's going on with this? talking with each other, and it turns out that like we get along pretty well. And I really want to work with Chris Zito because Chris has worked on. Chris is busy with Team 4-Star. He's the DM for their live stream or their D&D campaign. And I'd love to work with Chris at some point, but Chris is super busy, and I'm like, you and me will talk whenever we've got a product idea we can like get together on. But yeah. But I think Chris has been really cool about like, I mean, Chris promoted Ross and I's work on, I want to say Team 4-Star's, yeah, Chris Zito TFS. TFS at the table. So yeah, TFS at the table is their live stream, and they host it up like, I guess Chris allows for my classes, Ross's classes, and I think one or two of Benjamin's, and posts about them over on, you know, the TFS wiki. Yeah. I think everyone. Yeah, that was a weird time to be a content creator with a Patreon. That's for sure. But yeah, like, you know, we didn't know Team 4-Star, I guess we didn't really know at the time that Team 4-Star had like promoted our work. And then I found out about Chris Zito, and then I looked into Team 4-Star and I was like, oh my god, wait, like, my guys, they have like links to our work over on their website. What? Like, yeah, that was pretty cool. But yeah, I really want to work with Chris at some point in the future. Okay. Whew. Now. I'm not sure that I'm happy with chaos up here. You should probably include something about exploding, right? Oh, yeah, the goblin, yeah, okay. Curative properties by damaging, that's, okay. Yep, I had a thought like this. I thought it could be really cool to do that, right? Where like, what is the healing gonna be in any capacity for Goblin? I thought it could be pretty cool if it was keyed off of like what the Nilbog could do. But yes, I will check that one out. Magical and unpredictable rock. Sure. Okay. You like the idea of goblins moving together as a tribe, and you try to evoke that. Let's check this one out. Okay. I love mobility, commander types of mobility, right? You can take the disengage action as a bonus action. That's very nice already. Like, that's quite nice. I do think that they need a disengagement tool in a rune for Goblin, because the Goblin Runekeeper doesn't have anything within the subclass, or the Goblin, yeah, the Goblin Dialect doesn't have anything within the subclass built in for a disengagement tool, and they are the D8er that I think definitely needs to, they are the Runekeeper that I think most definitely needs to get something like that. I will say though, being able to pass this around to where other people can disengage as a bonus action, it's very good. When you take the disengage action, allies within 10 feet of you can use a reaction to immediately move up to half their movement speed without provoking attacks of opportunity. That almost feels more like something that should be in a rune stance, which is cool. Like, hang on, I'll show you. So they all have those different rune stances, and Goblin having the crazy D8 one. I think that does need to be a 5th level rune. That's my first thought, is the prerequisite should probably be 5th level. Because that's a strong... That's a really strong one. People that know D&D would probably look at that rune and be like, alright, how do I get into that, right? If you're going support and you want to be able to like get your buddies out of the trouble, boy, that's a good rune for that. Out of the danger of your explosions. You know, and that could be like... It used to have that built in. It used to have that built in. I removed it from Call to Havoc because it just felt like... It felt like controlled chaos, and you don't want to control the chaos. You want the Goblin Runekeeper to be the like... I'm just gonna throw the detonator down and like whatever, right? Like I don't know when it's gonna go off. So being able to control the chaos like that, I don't know if I like that. You love Chris's work. Seen all of Chris's first campaigns with the Natural Wonders. I really like his world. I won't get too distracted. I'm just gonna say, Chris Zito has a really cool world. Where is it? Did he only talk about it on Twitter or? Okay. Chris is working on a campaign setting, I think, for his world, which is mostly like kind of a cartoony fiction, or a cartoony style fantasy. So it's literally called fiction, and I love... You sold me on the world name right there, man. I love that idea. But it feels like a big homage to the cartoons and stuff, and I'm like, alright, dude. I actually need to get him my Bard College of Lunacy. I need to just send him a free copy and be like, hey, here you go. Just, I thought you might enjoy. Yeah, and having their allies run away from it. Like, were they using their reaction? To use their reaction, okay. Okay. Alright, okay. Good, okay. Good sell. That's a good sell. But I still think... You know? That is really good at getting that across. That is, yeah, that's a really good idea. Okay. What's the fun there? What's the fun, evocative thing there? Here's what I'm thinking. Like, whenever you take your action to invoke a rune, your allies can use their reaction to immediately move up to half their movement without provoking attacks of opportunity. Your allies within that distance, right? Because it's as a reaction to the action that you took, which would occur before the action takes place. Yeah, yelling yeet. I think yeet needs to be a goblin rune. Yeet yeet needs to be a goblin rune. I think that makes a lot more sense. Hang on. Okay. This is basically allowing you to do sculpt spell, like the evocation wizard thing, but in a much more like get out of the way kind of a thing. Like not I'm gonna control the area. Like I'm not that I'm gonna control the overall effect, but more so in a I'm doing this thing, move. Like, you know? Like this is a lot. Just you using your action to invoke a rune or take the disengage action, and then giving your allies the ability to use their reaction to immediately move up to half their movement is so good. Yeah, this is sculpt spell held together with duct tape. Like, you know? Catapult specifies that the object flung also takes damage, so would the bomb auto explode? Yes. Absolutely yes. So it could just be repurposing. Yep, okay. Here's what we're gonna do. This is gonna be super funny. That alone tells me we need the Goblin Rune of Yeet. Let's just snag that. And Yeet can literally just be us retyping catapult. Like, the Goblin Rune for Journey. Like, what are some of the other runes that we've had? So I'm looking to see if there's not one in Giant that might make a little bit more sense. Lifestone. Bow. I think Journey is what it's going to have to be. Okay. You are sending something on a journey. Okay. And one bonus action. Is catapult an action? Because, like, if you're going to take this... Yeah, if catapult's an action, I think you invoking this... Catapult's a first action, or first... Okay. Because you're going to have to invoke that, and then bam. Now, I don't think it needs to take 3d8 damage. Let's place that. That isn't being worn or carried. Okay. I guess I could enhance the... Yeah, instead of you throwing it, you can project it with Yeet. Catapult is an action. Yeah, so... Does it break anything for this to be a bonus action? I just don't think... I don't think it's necessary, and it would cause people to scream. Now, the creature has to make a dexterity saving throw. I think... it might be more fun just making an attack roll. Worn or carried. Well... You can make an attack. make a... Choose one object weighing 1 to 5 pounds and then 3 feet of you that isn't being worn or carried. Okay. The object begins to float. You can... you can magically cause a weapon to fly. As if it were an improvised weapon with... making an... Oh, you know what's so funny? You know what's not actually in the game? We have an improvised weapon attack. We don't have an improvised spell attack. That's super funny. Okay, so the object stops early. Well, I guess that's kind of understood. Yeah, if you're sitting in a straight line, you have to clarify that. If not, then meh. We don't have to clarify that. It doesn't need a dex save. Boom. This is actually a little bit cleaned up. I don't think I've ever seen in any homebrew someone say improvised spell attack. Like, this, I don't know that that exists anywhere, but I think it's so funny. Because, like, what's it going to do? When the object strikes something, the object and what it strikes each take. I want to make this to where you can snag it real easy and real early. 2d8, because that'll be like... it improvised would if you didn't say you're proficient with this attack right here. You like it heavy? I think that little line right there, like, that little line is so good. That, oh man, that's pretty damn funny. When the object strikes something, the object and what it strikes, I mean, 2d8 bludgeoning damage I don't think is actually necessary. It could scale. But, like, is it funny to do this? Because, like, that'll blow up the bomb. And it looks so, like, there's a lot of utility that it adds, right? Catapult is what, a first level spell? First level, 1d8. So 3d8 bludgeoning damage. I guess they gave you... Well... Okay. I did my... Yeah, it sticks to your hand. It can scale with your runes. It can. You conjure an object. What, like, yeet, right? Like... Man, what would this be? You conjure a rock. Like, you conjure a little rock as a bonus, or you... This is so dumb. You have a rock rune in the dock. This is why I love writing goblin runes. These have been so funny to write. The meta magic stone. Yeah, I'll check out. I'll check out that. Yeah. No, I totally hear you. What? Like, this doesn't do shit. Like, this is so dumb. But, like, I can't help but feel like people are gonna look at this and try and figure out how to make that good. Just the fact that you can materialize an object, though, like... Yeah, like, I guess that's true, right? If I say that it's dumb... Stare at a creature within 60 feet and must make a dex save. Suffer a number of d6 equal to the number of inscribed infernal runes. Is flat the way to go? Because that's 1d6 right there. I guess, like... Oh! Spencer's right. Now that's very good. Now this is very good. This just went from like, how the hell is this? Like, I could tell it was good. I could tell that this was actually, like, this is one of those stupid pieces of tech that, like, you look at in Magic the Gathering and you're like, there's something there. Oh, man. Like, just the fact that you can make a little rock when you need it is good already. The fact that you can now make the rock and it's any color of your choice. Now you get like, oh, yeah, like the Hansel and Gretel, right? I'm going to track, like, that's funny. I love that idea so much, Spencer. That is so good. Now you can, like, leave behind a little trail of rocks to, like, there's actually a lot of uses for this now. Like, oh, wait. You just get a bunch of goblin runes and suddenly you're doing a bunch of d6s of damage with rocks. Like, I guess it needs to be a d8. Would that keep it up with catapult? Maybe. Oh man, the one bludgeoning damage is so dumb. But like, the fact that the object takes the damage means that you can yeet the bomb now. I mean, I want to keep it at 1 damage. That's so funny. You can use this with a net too, right? There's other uses for this that are actually really good. The fact that you're making an improvised spell attack means that you get your you can use your rune magic attack bonus for it, right? Great, awesome, cool. It's an improvised spell attack, like, oh. Well, wait, oh crap. Making a ranged. Wait, Heavy, how does that get typed? If you're making an improvised weapon attack, do you have to say melee? Or is it always just improvised weapon attack? But it can't be reduced in any way. Yeah, that makes... Well, no, because in the 1d10, that's a funny increase, right? It's like, it is weird that, like, it does 1 bludgeoning damage, and then suddenly, whenever you get more runes, it increases by, you know what would be super funny? How dumb is this? The damage dealt by the attack increases by 1 for every rune you have inscribed. Like, I know y'all are saying like 1d12, but like, you know how funny this is? People look at this and they're just gonna think like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Do the rocks stay forever? Is there anything that allows you to materialize something that stays forever? Is there? That you can just create the thing and it stays? I think as long as it's a tiny rock, it can stay forever. But it has to stay a tiny rock. Like, that's all you can ever get out of it, is just a tiny rock. And people are going to be like, well, yeah, but like... yeah, it has to stay. That's actually really good. The fact that you materialize, you literally create an object. Improvised thrown weapons? Any condition that lets your teammate make a dexterity saving throw, or make a saving throw when they take damage, can be heated at. Not to get off track, but you have a question. Ask away, because I'm probably good for about 20 more minutes, and then I gotta get to bed. I gotta teach class in the morning. I'm so happy with all the progress we've made on that. Okay. The creature, if they're getting Orcon, they could probably already get that disengages the bonus action. Cause yourself to become invisible until you attack or cast a spell. Yes, behind all this, but I'll show you how you can cover a bit more territory here. Can you add a rune? Oh, okay, hang on. Gotcha. Yes, I will clarify that. Attack with an improvised weapon. Oh, you might be right. You might be right. Oh man, that would take a really funny gag out of this thing. The gag is so good. Like, it's such a nerd gag too. Like, improvised spell attack, what? Like, that's one of those like, yep, I'm a fucking dork kind of moments where I was like, oh, this is too funny. But like, if I had tried to explain that joke to anybody, I know they would have looked at me like, what is wrong with you? Okay, so can you add a rune to something like Magic Stone or Shillelagh? Okay. So, this is a very good question. I have thought about this because I wrote a rune that was basically like building off of the magic of Shillelagh and what that meant for like if Druid got a rune that was club. So the only thing that makes sense for Druid to get a club as a weapon that's a rune that you can do is going to be literally make Shillelagh as a rune, right? The weapon becomes a magic weapon with a d8 damage die. The wielder can use their choice of intelligence, wisdom, or charisma for the attack and damage rolls made with it instead of strength or dexterity. Now, why? Now, some people are probably going to ask, like, okay, does this not invalidate Shillelagh? Not really. Shillelagh already needs some help. As much as I love Shillelagh, the cantrip, and what it means for making a possible Druid Gish, it still doesn't quite do it. There's plenty of people out there that have tried to write like a Shillelagh Druid subclass because it's such a fun looking cantrip, right? I don't think that this invalidates Shillelagh because number one, Shillelagh is a cantrip. Yeah, someone will actually you, but everyone knows what improvised spell attack means. Yeah, I think it's probably fine. Now Shillelagh, what this does, Shillelagh is supposed to be a cantrip, which is actually slightly less valuable, which is actually slightly less valuable for a druid than an inscribed rune is for a Runekeeper. So I think that this is okay, and allowing it to scale, where it grants a +1 bonus to attack and damage rolls for every 3 that you have inscribed, I think is pretty cool. You being able to just make a wood thing that you can attack, do whatever with, and it being a magic weapon here, I think that this is actually pretty fine and pretty fair. Now, it gets an invoked effect, and it needs this because it needs a little bit of spell power to make it comparable, right? 1 bonus action, 1 minute. This is, you lose your Shillelagh, but it becomes laced with sprues of blackthorn and begins to float. When you invoke the rune, you can make a melee spell attack against a creature within 5 feet of the weapon. As a bonus action on your turn, you can move the weapon up to 20 feet and repeat the attack against a creature within 5 feet of it. Sounds familiar? Probably, because it's a repurposed spiritual weapon. So, this being a repurposed spiritual weapon, it's still weaker. It's still weaker in that it's not going to scale up with you right here. Should it? I don't know. Maybe. I'll figure that out later. But this is more true to the Celtic lore for what a Shillelagh was. Shillelagh, like, the most famous Shillelagh is actually probably closer to, like, maybe, you might think of, like, a witch's broom, in a way. The Blackthorn Shillelagh is, in every way imaginable, spiritual weapon. Like, if we're going back to the lore, check it out, Blackthorn Shillelaghs. They were the spiritual weapon for, like, for, I guess you would call it, like, Celtic druids? Gaelic druids? I feel like Celts? Whatever. So, I wanted to tie this rune back into the original lore for what Shillelaghs were. And, like, you being able to invoke it, it does the D8 damage. You're going to disarm yourself. It's spiritual weapon, but it's spiritual weapon with what I feel like is a pretty interesting coat of paint. I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, it's like Shillelagh, it's like spiritual weapon, but I still feel like it's different? But would you be able to, like, inscribe this and then do Shillelagh on top of it? Because of this wording right here, becomes a magic weapon, and it the damage die increases to a D8, I don't think it's going to override Shillelagh. But if you do an effect like adding a rune, let's say, what's a rune that would apply? I wrote a club rune for Thieves' Cant. Rook. Could I inscribe Rook onto a club and then cast Shillelagh on the club? Yes. The weapon would then gain the finesse property. So you would be able to Shillelagh, and then if you got any levels in Rogue, go over and sneak attack with the Shillelagh. I think that would be pretty okay. And then you get the other effect on top of it. It needs to be able to all plug into the 5e system and play well with it. Where is... Let me look at another one for, like, a weapon. Water weapon. The weapon's damage changes to acid until the creature wielding it uses a bonus action to dismiss it, or until they drop and sheath it. Now, the interaction that happens here, the weapon's damage changes to acid. If we look at Shillelagh, I think it's just a D8 bludgeoning damage. I can never remember how to spell this damn cantrip. The weapon's damage die becomes a D8. It becomes magical if it isn't already. Ooh, or if you let go of the weapon. I didn't know that we had that kind of wording in there. I like that. And this is just like, you can use your spellcasting ability instead of strength for the attack and damage rolls, right? It's not actually... Yeah, it's just the weapon's damage die becomes a D8. Or like... I think with everything I've put into it so far, if you were to allow for that interaction, I think it would be okay. 1d6 plus your spellcasting modifier. You imbue the 3 pebbles. If you inscribe something onto a pebble, you throw it, and then you... Like, what is going to be the big oomph on top of that? I can't really think of anything in particular. You can change the damage type to, like, something else, right? You inscribe something on a weapon, right? That's why these all state, like, a simple or martial weapon. I don't know that most DMs would say that the pebble would be a simple or martial weapon, and I don't think that the general power that you would get out of that is going to honestly be worth it. Go specifically to clubs and quarterstaffs. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be all that rough, honestly. I can't think of an interaction yet that would cause the problem. Yeah, picking up the twig and turning it into like a powerful. I love the idea. I love so much of what a shillelagh wants to be, and like Gish Druid. It's pretty sick sounding, right? I haven't figured out if I wanted to do like fire magic or like tie these more into terrain. Uh-oh. Why is that? Uh-oh. 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 Hang on. Hang on. InDesign's kind of crapping out on me. Yeah, I mean, if it's thematic and they want to go for it, go for it. But I was worried initially about like any kind of possible like bad interactions of it being a shillelagh, you know, or it being a magic stone. Litrix is one I think I'm gonna have to nerf. Well, 5th level it might be okay. I need to post this PDF so you guys can go check it out after I get done with this stream. We're fine, we got it. It's just Adobe products being kind of demanding. Maybe? I don't know. I'll think about that. Despite being the most finished, it's still missing a magic and award rune. Yeah. I'll have to figure out what those could be. Canonically, they don't have runes for those. Yeah. I'll save it. I got it. I gotcha. Yeah, they don't canonically have runes for those. What did I have in Legends of Frozen Far? I need to... yep. This is Adobe crap in the bed. Okay. Adobe is doing everything it can to crash on me right now. Okay, I already got that one furred. I need to grab Krieg. Wait, Kong. I thought I got one for Kong already. I can close Shaman. I can close... Oh, wait. We'll go back. We'll do this. We'll do the Goblin one. We'll go pull some of the ones from Giant, and then we'll call that stream. Okay, Orcon. We didn't finish that one. So how do we clean that one up? That right there is already very, very good. Or until you make an attack or cast a spell. Boop. Yes. Boom. Until you deal damage, what do they do for the... It can't be stronger than invisibility, I just want to make sure. Well, it can be around the same level of power. I just want to make sure it's not stepping too hard on its toes. that attacks or casts a spell. But there's another wording in attack, make a, yeah. Hey, thanks, Mads. Yeah, it'll, anytime you get in on these new chapters in your life, it's always scary, but it'll be okay. There we go. Until you invoke a rune, I don't think it really needs that, because like it's covering like attack, make a damage roll, or force someone to make a saving throw. The good thing with Firbolg, this, I love this race so much. This feature right here is a big part of it. This is such a cool racial trait to get right here, hidden step. I guess I shouldn't really be like, Firbolg is getting a really nice buff, like a really nice buff in the new books, right? Like they're getting the ability to use this proficiency bonus times per long rest. That's so good, so good. What this means is that at later levels, Firbolg will, like in the big boss encounters, Firbolg is basically going to be invisible on all their turns. And a thing that's really good with this is if you read the instances in which you turn invisible until you attack, make a damage roll, or force someone to make a saving throw, like it's pretty easy for you to get around and heal if you really need to, because it doesn't deactivate whenever you heal. Like, oh man, like, is it super strong? It's very nice. I think that this is a very nice, very interesting synergy to mention. You know, this does not deactivate whenever you heal somebody. There's a lot that you can get out of that. Oh, you're bouncing for the night? Oh, Phil, hey, it was good seeing you, man. Thanks for coming out and hanging out for so long. Yeah, have a good night. I think, yeah, I think that Hidden Step PB Long Rest, yeah, I think that this is going to wind up being way too strong. A few of these new features I am pretty worried about. But you can invoke this, this means now, there's other runes that you can invoke. There's other actions that you can take within these runes that can be pretty cool. Oh, yeah, so, oh man, I love so many of these. Okay, let me look at some of the other ones. I know, I gotta stay on task. Okay. Foodie. When you take the attack action, you can choose to read your weapon in Curative Nilbog Magic, targeting an ally instead. If you do, you expend one hit die. The target takes no damage from the attack and can immediately repeat a saving throw against the spell currently affecting it. Okay. Huh. I would say spell or condition? I guess you have to hit it. Is that, oh man, I need to think about that one a bit more than, probably what I can do on the rest of the stream tonight. I like this idea in here. I like this. I'm gonna put a pin on that right now. This is the returning one. And bursts. Yes, okay, I need another table one. Bolted lightning, 1d8, reducing it by, okay, I like that. Knocked prone. Ooh. Unless it uses, okay, so action economy denial. Okay. Well, it's a very situational action economy denial, but a nice, okay. It's action to extinguish the flames. There we go. Okay. And is stunned. That might need a... Well, I guess it's a random... Yeah, you are invoking it. If you hit it, then... That might be okay. That 6 is very nice, but it might be okay. Yeah, I think more than likely it probably is okay. You have to confirm this. You have to spend the resource. And then it's a random roll. I think it's okay to not have it tied to a save. Good, okay, okay. I like that. The randomness, okay, okay. Now, as a bonus action on your turn, you can choose a creature within 15 feet of you to form a temporary bond with. Whenever the bonded creature takes damage, you take the... okay. So, talking about... this is a very selfless kind of a rune right here. Which this makes a lot of sense as a dwarvish effect right here. Right? Like, friend, this is all very dwarvish feel to me, which I like a lot. Goblin runes, this is the thing that like Shrek and I had talked about the character of it, right? This feels very selfless, and we think that goblin would be selfish, right? So like trying to figure out a way to like, this feels too generous for a goblin rune, you know? I think that this is going to be really cool for this first effect would be so good for a dwarvish rune. When invoked, it pulses with Nilbog reversal magic. The attacker must make a wisdom saving throw. Has its strength sapped and only deals half damage with melee. Okay. Check out your notes on it. Their meat shield, and I figure I might... The reversal magic. Okay. Yeah, you take the damage instead. For 1 minute. Ooh. That is very good. Tricking the ally into taking... Okay. But... Oh, okay, the ally holds the object, and therein, the creature holding the object can take the damage instead of you. If you give it over... Okay, so you give it over to someone else, and then they... Okay, I see how that's supposed to work. Alright, alright, alright. Okay. Alright. I'll sit on it. I'll sit on it. I like the idea. I do think that this could make for... Maybe it could have a contrast with a Dwarvish rune as well, that has like a similar inscribed effect. And we can play on that and see how that could work later. I like a lot of what you give, like, shown me over here. This is all good stuff, Gamma. Right, Wolf, yes, great stuff. I do want to take another look at it, probably whenever I don't have to be up in 8 hours. But yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap up stream on this. I like this so far. We've got a lot of good stuff happening with the Runekeeper for right now. So anyways, is she holding me hostage until I make her the perfect class? No, she is just ready to play a dancer. We're ready to get back to playing D&D with our friends again. So I mean, the next character she plays, she wants to play a dancer so hard. No. So she's already happy with that one. Anyways. Alright. You can tell I'm probably exhausted. Anyways. Yes, good stuff. I want to check out more. I wish... I was really, really hoping that it was going to snow and that we were going to be out of class tomorrow. But... I don't know that it will. Okay, it's supposed to in the next 2 hours, but it also says that it's 36 degrees outside, and I don't think that's gonna stick. So, get her on strings so she can design some runes. I'll ask her. I'll see what's going on. Um, yeah, I do think like she has a lot of fun with being on stream, but I think that the design side of it just bores her to death. Oh man. Um, if your fiance enjoyed playing it, good. I'm glad to hear it. Anyways, guys, yeah, I'm gonna go wash my face, brush my teeth, go lay down, get in bed. If you like the stream, hey, why not drop the like down there? If you're new here, subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate y'all. Let me turn that down. Anyways, appreciate y'all for hanging out. Thank you so much for making my night a little bit better. Got a lot of really good work done. I think there's a lot of hilarious stuff happening with some of these runes. The Runekeeper will be available over on the DMs Guild very, very soon-ish. Soon-ish. Anyways, if you like the streams and everything, consider joining up over on Patreon. Drop a super chat, all that stuff. Pay for my coffee. Would you please? Would you please? Anyways. Yeah, guys. Hey, thank you all so much for being here. I hope you all have a great night. I hope you all are staying safe.